the fan, and he drew a direct line between Dak's new deal, and you're not going to believe it, the Super Bowl.
No way.
Take a listen.
Any time that we've ever made players the highest paid player, key players such as Troy Aikman, the most highest paid player in the game, we won Super Bowls.
Okay. CD's deal is done, not the highest. Dak's deal is done. Does this make the Cowboys, and they're always S-Bob, extra S-Bobs?
Extra. I mean, maybe for you guys that have been slow to realize that they are S-Bob. Every year they have a good team.
Greg.
Every year they have a good team. When we know they don't have a quarterback, when we know they're no good, of course they're not S-Bob. But every year they have a good team. It's championship or bust. The Lakers this year. Now, we know they're not likely to win the championship, but they got a good team. They're championship or bust. They're not going to be happy just getting to the finals, happy just getting to the conference finals. Same thing with the Dallas Cowboys for several reasons. Number one, and you know this, Nick, and Jerry's alluded to this. Will Dak Prescott ever have this much talent around him again? And I think they're down from last year. But now that he's making $60 million a year going forward, Jerry's even said, well, it's going to be tough to put a lot of talent around him.
Yeah.
Right? So this year, Micah's playing for a contract. We know he's going to get it, but he's motivated to get that huge contract, become the highest paid non-QB in the league. And they are S-Bob completely.
Can I ask a question?
Without question.
Aren't they less than if Dak hadn't signed his deal? Doesn't this, by definition, mean that they have more, doesn't signing the deal make it, let me just create a fanciful universe now that this deal has been signed. And I'm going to give, I think, a semi-realistic playoff field. Detroit's the 1 seed. San Francisco's the 2 seed. Dallas is the 3 seed.
Sure.
Okay? We all on the same page? In round 1, Dallas hosts Philadelphia and wins.
Oh.
Again, it's just round 2. Dallas goes to San Francisco, the site of so many of their playoff failures. Dak plays great, and they win. Round 3, they're playing the Fightin' Dan Campbells in Detroit, and in a game very similar to last year's game before the playoffs, it comes down to the very end, except this year, Skipper correctly says I'm eligible, and the Cowboys lose. They're blowing it up. They're firing people, or Jerry Jones is saying, best year in 30 years. This is why we signed Dak. Mike McCarthy come back, and we are ready to roll. That's exactly what would happen. The Dallas Cowboys are the following. Pwit Bob, play well in the playoffs or bust. Patai Saab, play to your seed or bust. And maybe NFC Championship game or bust.
Give it to the pros.
Look,
Greg,
you painted a nice scenario,
yeah,
and we
that
know
debunks this nonsense.
No, just like must win, can't lose. All this stuff has strange meanings. S-Bob does not mean if we lose, everybody's gone. So I'm not. Your scenario, they probably bring Mike McCarthy back.
It'd be a great year.
You are the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
It is never a great year if it ends without the trophy.
Oh. Greg, can I get down to the real world? We're in the little bit of the hypothetical.
Knows I'm right.
I know. That's why I need to turn it. Jerry also is kind of what I took away from it. Tell me what your take on it is. Now that guys are getting paid, we're going to play better. Do you buy that?
I don't buy that. I think what he's trying to say is they don't have to worry about getting paid, and so they play freer, maybe less stress. But the idea that he's going to throw out there, they're the highest paid. Last time we had the highest paid player, we won the Super Bowl. All you just did was dump a whole lot more pressure right back on these guys.
It's also, I think, not true because Dak was briefly the highest paid guy already himself when he got the 4 for 160. Right. So, it's a little revisionist.
It's counterproductive when you hear Mike McCarthy earlier in training camp or at the close of training camp trying to focus on one game, one opponent,
Yeah,
one day
yeah.
at
They
a
got the
time,
t-shirts
I
made and
one week
everything.
at a time, all these things, right? And then you have your owner who continues to throw out the bait.
But let's just real quick. If we can, take this quote out of it, which I know is weird because that's why we're talking about it. But do you think Dak is better positioned having signed this deal, or if he went into the year on an expiring deal the way I predicted? Like, what do you think is more likely to lead to success for the Cowboys and Dak?
Oh, him not being signed.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that's
absolutely.
pressure, even though you know
It's
you're going to
pressure,
get paid
but it's
anyway.
motivating. It's like because you have something to prove, and so now you're not only trying to prove it to the team that you want to be with, but you're like, in case y'all don't know, these other 31 teams might get me.
Okay, so just quick review. Quarterbacks not being signed played better. Receivers not being signed play worse or fake injuries.
I wouldn't say we play worse, but the thinking
They're a little, and because there's this, receivers sometimes can get iced out of a market.
Correct.
The quarterbacks,
that makes
Dak
sense.
knows like would have gotten paid no matter
Quickly,
what.
this is what I think Jerry's doing. Number one, I think him putting the pressure on them is why I always talk about their culture not being conducive to winning the Super Bowl. And secondly, I think Jerry's ticked off that he had to go this high to pay Dak. And now he is saying, I just paid you $60 million a year. We expect a Super Bowl.
No, sure, that's fair. Okay. That I agree. We should have led with that instead of this late.
News out of Pittsburgh. No revenge for Russ. Justin Fields named the starter for the Steelers' Week 2 game in Denver. Here's Coach Tomlin.
As I sit here today, we're preparing as if Justin is going to be our quarterback. I think that's the appropriate way to do it. Speculation is a waste of time. Russell's hurt. He's not available to us. And so, as you guys know, as a general practice, man, I focus my energy on those that are available and their readiness.
Wow. You think Russ wanted to play this game, though? Like, that's the thing.
Well,
the
they say he wanted to
Broncos.
play.
Yeah, of course. And now it's the Broncos. Now it seems, so this is where you go from a little, I don't want to say schadenfreude at Russ's last few years, but he rubs some people the wrong way with some of his stuff, to now it's kind of like, ugh. Because here's the deal. Russell Wilson's football career is no longer in his control.
That's true.
If Justin Fields is excellent, Russell Wilson's days as an NFL starter. The Bills' defense wasn't good this week. Their offense was. The Eagles, if you think they're a contender, their defense wasn't good. Their offense was. I'm trying to go, up and down the
Green
list.
Bay's offense
Atlanta's offense was awful. Their defense was actually pretty good. Held them to just field goals. Maybe that's the closest to it. Go up and down the list. What other team that we have real expectations for is supposed to? I thought Miami's offense wasn't great. The defense was.
I'm down on them, but the Bengals. That's why.
The Bengals' defense was fine. The Bengals, they allowed 16
that's very
points.
It was against New England.
Okay, so the Bengals are the one.
16 points
So
against
the
New
Bengals
England.
are the one, and we asked, is it panic time?
Yeah, that's right.
We asked, is it panic time? And so, no. My answer to this is no, the Jets should not feel optimistic, and I don't think you think.
No, I'm just saying I don't think the sky is falling. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I would be. I'd be like, bad news, guys.
That's why
They
Jets
didn't even
fans,
have
I
Christian
told you.
McCaffrey.
Don't listen to him.
Okay. Purdy, meanwhile.
Close your ears.
Move on to Brock Purdy, 231 yards. I'll read a verbatim text from Brew. Quote, he's outplaying a Hall of Famer by leaps and bounds.
Bruce said that
It's
whole
true.
chain is off the record.
Oh, is this off?
No, that's
No,
fine.
stop it.
If you
Purdy's
use the
straight
good stuff.
surgical. Here's Purdy post-game.
He was surgical.
For us as an offense, it's like, man, we want to score touchdowns, and we're hard on ourselves about, like I think it was like a 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 10 and coming up short. And it's like, man, there's areas where we want to push each other and get a little better, and that starts with me.
Okay, look at that. Purdy last night started a little slow, then heated up. Also, when Sauce left the game to catch his wind,
It was weird. That's when he really started cooking.
No,
6 for
because
6.
Sauce
Yeah.
was all over
Sauce-
the receivers.
right.
He was doing great.
And
yeah.
he
were
wanted
you impressed by a CMC-less 49ers squad, bro?
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Listen, I was impressed by Brock. Those first couple drives.
I can't believe it.
Wait, can you say that again?
No, listen.
I think that's the first time Nick
First
said
time
that.
ever.
Definitely not.
Guy was in the Super Bowl.
I will continue to just be fair and honest about Brock Purdy. When he plays well, I will tell you. When I think he plays poorly, I will tell you. When I think his numbers are not a reflection of how well or poorly he played, I will tell you. This is an instance where I think he was better than those numbers suggest. I thought that this was, to me, more impressive than some of his 120 passer rating 3-touchdown games, because it was a whole weekend of bad quarterback play, essentially, with the rare exception. As you guys mentioned, it started off looking like he was going to follow in that trend. I think I sent you guys on our off the record